near 64. By Wednesday, sunshine, a high of 83 degrees. And Thursday, plenty of blue skies and sun will see a high around 87. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 69.
How do you know you're home? At Habitat for Humanity, we believe it's when you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Not because of chance, but because of high costs and other very real barriers. A housing crisis this big needs all of us. So let's open the door to opportunity and build a tomorrow where home is possible for everyone. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. Again, that's Habitat.org. Habitat for Humanity. Let's open the door.
Hi, I'm Kevin Love. Sony Pictures Animation's film GOAT is out now, and we've created something special to go with it. Inspired by the film, GOAT Beyond the Game is a free curriculum that gives kids creative ways to support their emotional well-being. Designed to help kids build their confidence, stay focused, and navigate their emotions, the program brings the film's core themes into the classroom through fun activities. These are evidence-based tools that actually work and will help kids discover they have the power to change the game. Visit kevinlovefund.org and download it today for your classroom or family.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Tuesday morning, political fighters, and welcome to the July 28th, 2026 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Email me at richard@wcpt820.com and follow me on all the socials under Choose Views. And, of course, we have a daily posting there, so you can check out different stuff. Do what you got to do. And also catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT. Subscribe to it, guys. Our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views, featured interviews, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, Patty Vasquez, Driving It Home, It's the Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath, and, of course, Out Chicago, as well as our other great shows and interviews. And also in the evenings, the Politics Bar, the Matt McNeil Show, and the Gailey Show. And over at Heartland Signal, we've got some good clips of interviews that Patty has done, where she was talking with the House Minority Leader, Phil Gianquinta, Democrat, and about how the state is, the GOP leaders in the state are basically using Band-Aids to fix crises rather than being forward-thinking. So that's a really solid interview you guys want to check out. My interview with Senator Caitlin Dray from Iowa, which she is truly a fighter and a survivor in terms of the work that she's done and talking about cancer survivor and all the rest. So make sure to check that out. And then Joan's got a great interview with Jamie Firestone, author of the new memoir, Rule of Lies. So make your way over to heartlandsignal.com. Check out our work that we've got there for you. Always good to share, like it and share it, and spread the wealth. Nothing wrong with that. On today's show, William Hazelgrove, Curtis Hertel, Dr. Theresa Brooks will be joining us. William Hazelgrove is the author of The Camp Mystic Flood. He was on with us back in the spring talking about the crazy, if you guys remember, Capone Vault, and just how media changed with reality TV and how that became almost one of those, if you want to reach back and say, where did it all start? Or certainly what was something that impacted modern television, that Geraldo Rivera piece, if you guys recall. He covered that and wrote a book about it, and Capone's Vault. And he'll be with us again today talking about the Camp Mystic Flood, which took place down in Texas. Curtis Hertel is the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. He'll be joining us. And keeping it strong in Michigan, Dr. Theresa Brooks, who's a physician and 2026 candidate for Michigan State Senate. So we'll bring those to you today in the 6:37 and 7:30 hours. looking forward to those conversations. Today's question, and we're gonna play a clip that is what I think Democrats. It's a way in which Democrats need to remember kind of how to fight. Not how to fight, but when you got a member of the cabinet or someone that's acting like a you know what, how you? I think you handle these folks. But today's question, speaking of Democrats, is what do you guys think of Ken Martin as the DNC chair, and should he be replaced, or should he be? I believe the way that it really works right now is that he has to step down. But a lot of people are very, very unhappy with how he is sort of handling things right now. And my understanding is that from a fundraising standpoint, we're way behind. And that's unfortunate given the successes that we've had recently in terms of some of the special elections and the midterms and the primaries. But from what I'm reading, we're behind in fundraising significantly to the GOP. And but, you know, oftentimes the party in power is, because of the very fact that they are the party that's in power, whether it be White House, House, or Senate, on a federal level, tends to raise more money just because they've got the bully pulpit in some ways. But I remember when Ken Martin was first, and I said it here, when he was first, selected for this position, I just didn't get a good feeling like he was the kind of hammer we need. And that seems to be bearing itself out, unfortunately. We need a bigger, stronger voice, in my opinion. And I said that then, and I've been saying it along the way. But, you know, I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think of Ken Martin as a DNC chair? Should he be replaced? Should he step down? What needs to be done in your observations based on what you guys know? And it leads to kind of my thinking about this clip that we have. Representative from Michigan, Rashida Tlaib, she's been criticized for a variety of things in terms of her stance on certain issues regarding Palestine, Gaza, Hamas, Israel, the Israeli army, and all that's happening there in that part of the Middle East. But the one thing that she definitely knows how to do is to throw a punch when it comes to, and how to control the narrative. And I've watched her do this over time when it comes to hearings and press conferences, frankly. She is not afraid to roll up her sleeves, kick off her heels, snatch off a couple of earrings, Devin, and go for it. And this clip is a good example of that very thing. Check this out.
Who do you work for, Director?
President of the United States.
No. You work for the people of the United States. You take an oath to the people of this country. You should be fired because you work for the people, not the president. None of us work for the president. Why do you think the agency was created? Because of the president? Congress created the agency because of the awful financial distress that had happened on our American people. You can blink your eyes all you want. Last year, Americans lost roughly $16 billion to fraud. 25% increase from 2024 on your watch. The highest level on record on your watch. In fact, CFPB has received more consumer complaints in 14 months than in the first 14 years of its existence. Your watch. In May, CFPB deleted more than 2,000 pages from its website. These include consumer advisories, blog posts. You didn't do it?
Nope.
You didn't do it? Nope.
We overhauled our website.
Okay. How is CFPB adhering to congressional mandated consumer protection mission by removing consumer education and other materials from its website?
We did not remove materials from the website. We put it in an archive.
So you didn't remove the Know Your Right. You archived the Know Your Rights for veterans? You archived it?
We archived the
You archived the Know Your Rights, Russell, for veterans. You guys can get all upset all you want. He doesn't work for the president. He doesn't work for Zell or Walmart. He works for the people of the United States. Shame on you. On your watch, complaints are up. You literally took money away from pockets of our residents. You can blink all you want. Your legacy will be the fact that people got hurt under your watch because you think you work for the president
time has
and not
expired.
the people.
That's how I want to see Democrats fight when it comes. What's that?
I'm applauding her.
Yes. I mean, in case you guys hadn't seen or heard that, when it goes on. I mean, there's prior to, because she was wrapping up her time. And Devin was applauding her. That's how it's got to get done. She called him Russell. I like that. That's one of my favorite parts, Mike. She called him by his first name. Called him by the name his mom and daddy gave him. You know, that's how you do it, Dems. And when I juxtapose this against Ken Martin, we need that. You know, we need that kind of. I'm not taking any of this garbage from you folks any longer. I love how she said, Devin, you can blink all you want to, right? I mean, that's calling him on his garbage real time. You can blink all you want to. And this guy, Scott Bessent, when he's wiping his glasses, when he's in hearings, you know, somebody used to say, you can wipe your glasses all you want to. Call them on their stuff real time as best we possibly can. I know we all can miss the mark there because we sometimes get caught up in the craziness. But she came ready. She came ready with numbers, when things happened, how they happened, and the impact on Americans. And that's the way you do it. You cannot like her for certain other things or have challenges with her for certain other things and things that she may have said. But I'll take if the trade-off is, you know, every now and again she might say something that you just go, what? Which really she didn't. It's just that the media needed to make her look like the bad guy. But I'll take that. I'll take that 24/7. I'll take Democrats rolling into these hearings. And right now, this just took place last week. Right now, between now and the midterms, that's the kind of fire that Democrats need to bring to every single hearing. Senate or House, it doesn't matter. Every single hearing. So there you go. I'll send you that clip if you want it. Email me and I'll get it to you. But we'll take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 here in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from our folks down in Warren County, North Carolina, and now AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu, and we will be right back.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show, Choose Views, if you're just tuning in. And I'm Richard Chu, of course. And we'll bring you a couple of quick Choose Views news on this July 28th, 2026. Oil falls below $90 as U.S. considers its next move on Iran. It dropped to $90 a barrel to U.S. and Iran forces temporarily halted military strikes, while Iran and Oman diplomats met to discuss reopening the Straits of Hormuz. The de-escalation of tensions caused a dip in benchmark crude oil, Brent crude oil. What the president is doing now, said the U.S. ambassador to the United States nations, Mike Waltz, is giving the talks some space. Well, we'll see how that plays out. All right. Nearly 1.6 million eggs sold at Kroger and other stores have been recalled under a multiple brand names recall that's due to possibility of salmonella contamination, according to the FDA. Midwest Poultry Service issued the recall voluntarily and said it was not aware of any specific illnesses linked to its products. But Texas and Louisiana, some of the eggs were sold at Kroger locations. Also, our Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Mississippi said that they were available at certain stores like Brookshire grocery stores. So we'll keep you posted on that. We find out more. Nike was ordered to pay at least $7.5 million in a discrimination suit. A jury in Portland awarded former Nike employee $19,730 in economic damages and at least $7.5 million in punitive damages for sex discrimination. Additional economic damages could be awarded by a federal judge who presided over the 6-day trial. And prospective homebuyers feel stuck in bad deals with brokers. They're becoming entangled in contracts that could have had them unwittingly tied to the same brokerage company for many years. In other words, locked into only dealing with that brokerage firm, according to Business Insider reports. Real estate agents are increasingly presenting clients with buyer representation agreements at the very beginning of the process, and overwhelmed buyers aren't necessarily reading the fine print before signing. Terminating these contracts can be costly. The practice of springing this on a consumer at the threshold is amazingly unfair and dishonest, according to Doug Miller, real estate lawyer in Minnesota. And Google was fined $1 billion by the EU for exploiting search dominance. Last week, at the end of last week, Google was fined $1 billion regarding its own services, providing its own services over rival companies in this last confrontation between the tech giant and the world's second largest economy. European officials determined that search results prioritize Google's products and services in areas like shopping and travel. And of course, we've had back-to-back heat waves in different parts of the country. Hit the Midwest, of course, central parts of the United States, with over 100 million people facing record high temperatures, humidity, and rain, as we just saw here in this upper Midwest, Chicago area. Excessive heat advisories have been advised across 22 states in recent weeks, with triple-digit highs recorded in cities like Las Vegas and Phoenix. The extreme weather is also putting additional strain on already stressed power grids due to the recent data boom. Electricity demand for aging air conditioning units can overload power systems, triggering rollouts. So there you go. A couple of quick Choose Views news items on this July 28th, 2026. Today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be talking to Christopher Armitage, author, veteran, former law enforcement officer, and activist, publisher of The Existentialist Republic on Substack, and Joel Ostro, professor of political science at Benedictine University. That's Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT, AM 820, Heartland Signal. Tune in. That's where you can find Joan's show. Tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by guest co-host Joel Ostro, moving that conversation right along. In the second hour, hear Patty's conversations with Chevy Humphrey, president of the Museum of Science and Industry, on their new Anne Frank exhibit. So if you're here in Chicago, check that out. And Julia Laurie, senior reporter at Mother Jones. She recently wrote an article, Me, Myself, and IUDs. Did birth control make my depression worse? Okay. Tomorrow here on Choose Views, I'll be joined by Anna Gomez, commissioner of the Federal Communications Commission. Kurt Mullet will be hanging out with us from Hoosier Blue 63. And Colette Delawala, founder and CEO of Stand Up for Science. Make sure to check us out tomorrow. We'll keep you posted on, and as a reminder of the shows, we'll let you know that again in case you're tuning in late. So there you go, guys. A couple of quick things that are happening. Choose Views news and a few things that are happening with our other shows. All right. So a big conversation that's going on right now in today's segment of Something to Chew On. This Qatari gifted Boeing 747-8 that's currently being used by Donald Trump is turning into an even bigger disaster. Bigger and bigger and bigger disaster. And the primary reason is that it was rushed in terms of retrofitting this jet. And the process, like anything of this size, no pun intended, but any project of this size that gets rushed inevitably will have problems. And this is also, because it was rushed, it sacrificed some of the necessary military-grade protections that are required for our president. And it puts this president and anyone on that plane in jeopardy. And at the whim of someone or some country or some rogue nation, whatever you want to call them, that decided that they would want to attack the United States. And by attacking the president, you're attacking, of course, the United States of America. And so the specific dangers, the most important danger, frankly, is to the president. I can't stand him, but I certainly don't want that to be his demise. That's not where I stand, where my head is at. And this is something I ask myself this question. Does he have a death wish? He gets up in a plane like that doesn't have the necessary. I mean, this is a Oval Office in the sky, essentially. He needs to be able to run the country, as it were, from anywhere he goes. And that plane particularly is the one, or being on that plane is probably where he's most vulnerable, believe it or not, because of the fact that it's airborne. So when you take a plane from a foreign entity that is on the fence if they are actually a full ally of ours or not, that is frankly deficient. It's not even up to speed. It's not a question of it being sort of a Mendoza line at par. It's deficient of that. And you rush into getting it ready just so you can show off. It puts the country at risk. And the reason that it puts the country at risk is that if something were to happen, there's going to be multiple cabinet members that would be impacted by this. So these are all the technical reasons why. Missile warfare, the lack of capabilities there, all the counterintelligence items that we use in protecting the president when he is airborne. Those things are all out the window because of his desire to have this sort of, luxury jet. By the way, he's supposedly taking it with him when he leaves. That's what I heard. Yeah, it's gifted to him from what I read. It's not gifted to the United States. And so this is the other half of how I look at this. The current status is, as I read, the White House initially defended the safety of the aircraft. The administration effectively validated these concerns by announcing the plane will be grounded for a month in the fall of 2026 to undergo rapid upgrades and enhancements to, as he said at a press conference, to max out its defense capabilities. So if it weren't already there, then why would you even get on it in the first place, other than to walk through it? But to actually take it in the air and put yourself at risk, and cabinet members that are on it, and U.S. security is at risk, is just completely devoid of reality and responsibility. And I think about a lot of things that Donald Trump has done, and who knows what else he will do. But this is an example of him being reckless to the point where the cabinet should. This is that people are saying the 25th Amendment should be enacted because of his mental capabilities or deficiencies or whatever. But this is actually a threat to national security. This is a threat to national security. That, to me, right there is enough. Set aside his mental capacities or incapacities. He made the decision to take that thing in the air. He put the country at a national security risk. He should pay a price for that. And the price, from an administrative standpoint, is the 25th Amendment. He literally put national secrets at risk and other people in harm. And he should go down for that, no pun intended. But here's the other part as I wrap this segment up today. The cost to the American people financially is yet another abuse by Donald Trump of resources that we treasure. The dollars that are being spent to retrofit a plane that didn't need to be retrofitted in the first place, if he were going to take it, are dollars that could be going into the pockets of Americans who are struggling because of the administration's tariffs, because of the administration's push of the House to force through this ugly bill, and now this war in Iran. Those are dollars that are just being wasted, like everything else that Donald Trump is touching. He's wasting dollars. He's spending money like a quote-unquote drunken sailor. And this is yet another example. So he needs to go down politically. All right, guys, Let's get to this first break. The number is 773-763-9278. You are listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
One in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. We've got a huge variety of metals in stock, and we cut to size fast. Bottom line, we get it done fast, so you get it done fast. Doesn't get easier than that. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store or buy online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Hey Progressives, it's Richard Chu, host of Choose Views weekdays 6 to 8 a.m. Central. We're all anxious for the 2026 midterm election to arrive so we can restore some sanity and much needed oversight to our government. In fact, it's the most important midterm election in American history, and Choose Views will be in the thick of it, bringing you candidate interviews on a regular basis. I'll be talking to Democratic Party hopefuls running for House and Senate at the federal and state level, as well as candidates for governor and other state and local offices.
I am in love with our ability to fight for our rights, to fight for our future, to fight for our freedoms, to fight as our ancestors fought. It's just our moment. This is just our time to stand up and to speak up. We can't give up on this.
If you miss any of the interviews live, you'll be able to find them all on WCPT's Candidate Interviews page at heartlandsignal.com/candidates. That's Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high in the upper 70s. Winds out of the northeast around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low near 64. By Wednesday, sunshine, a high of 83 degrees. And Thursday, plenty of blue skies and sun will see a high around 87. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 69.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu. And I'm the guy, Devin, that someone said, you just want to destroy Democrats. 95% of the time, you say that Democrats are bad. I think sometimes people need to get their brains checked. Let's grab Andre real quick. Got a caller. Good morning, Andre. Welcome to Choose Views. How you doing this morning?
Good morning to you, Mr. Chu. With that person that said that comment talking about you, the Democratic Party, they must not have been listening to your show. You can love a party and be critical of them at the same time. You said nothing that suggests that you're against the Democratic Party, so maybe you can erase that one from the archive. But I just want to say about Ken Martin. You know, Mr. Chu, when you look at Joe Gruters, the chairman of the Republican Party, he's not doing much better than Ken Martin.
Okay.
The thing is that the Republican Donald Trump's approval rating is so low. It's hard to imagine that the grassroots people donate money to Trump, to the Republicans. So where's the money coming from? People like Elon Musk and those other billionaires. Whereas Ken Martin has a problem is that they don't have those almost trillionaire donors like the Republican Party has in Elon Musk. And I think also the part of the fundraising problem with the Ken Martin too, Mr. Chu, is that he hasn't reined in. I never liked him to begin with, but he hasn't reined in people like Fetterman. He hasn't talked to Mondami. He should have met with Mondami and let them know, man, listen, with this socialist stuff, even though socialism is cool, you affected our fundraising. Do you think people really want to donate to the Democratic Party with this socialism going on? See, you understand socialism. I understand socialism, but the average American don't understand socialism. They look at it as something bad because of Fidel Castro. So if you're trying to reach people, you can't go out there freelancing like that and say we socialists. So that affects the fundraising as well. So to get that fundraising back on track, I think Ken Mott needs to reel Fetterman in, and he needs to go and talk with Mondami and those socialists and let them know, man, listen, y'all could be affecting our fundraising. Y'all need to knock it off or come on board or something.
Well, I don't. No, the first part with Fetterman. Fetterman needs to be reined in by whomever in the Democratic Party. They need to, as the phrase goes, they need to get their boy. But I don't know. It's not that I disagree with you regarding the Democratic Socialists and their movement right now. It is definitely driving people, and some to and some away from the messaging right now. And I've been looking at a lot of different reports in that space. And I haven't looked at that yet. And I will, Andre, in terms of, is it affecting fundraising? I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. But let's be honest, there's other Democrats that are moderate Democrats right now that they're affecting fundraising too. I mean, there's a lot of folks who are saying, I'm just tired of the Democratic Party. And I'm not throwing stones at Democrats. I'm saying that there are people who are saying that. And so let's look at it like this, Andre. When people think of Ken Martin, I don't think that they see someone that's a powerful leader of one of the most powerful organizations in the country right now. And to your point, if he were representing or showing that to the country and to the Democrats and the moderates and all the rest, then you would hear more conversation about the successes that he's having in fundraising and other areas. And I mean, I know it's a big tent, it's a big, we got to stretch our arms out to get it around all that's out there. But I've never gotten the sense that he was the guy or the person that was going to come in and shake things up and make some things happen. And that's where I sit. So I think that there's some deficits when it comes to maybe the Democratic Socialist conversation, but there's also been deficits when it comes to the moderates who just kind of let a lot of things slide on by. That's my take on it.
No, and your take is accurate too. I totally agree with you, Ken Martin this week, and he should step down or he'll be replaced. But let me ask you this real quick, Mr. Chu. Some of these Democratic Socialists, now they're going on Fox News. Is it possible that it could be some sort of subversive thing going on, like Republicans put money into these socialist campaigns?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. This is the one thing that I do know is happening. There is a lot of, quote unquote, secondary dark money that's funding a lot of the sort of opposition narrative. So I'll give you an example. You remember me talking about this back during the primaries here in Illinois, where Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton was all of a sudden just getting lambasted with these highly critical ads of her, and other candidates were getting it too. So I started looking into it and found out that that one organization, what's it called now, Fair Strike or Fair Shake, they were help me out, Devin. What's the name of that group? But they were indirectly funded by some tech bros and indirectly by AIPAC. But it made it sound like they were promoting the other Democrats when in fact they were attacking her. That was outside money impacting that money. They have no brick and mortar presence here in Illinois. So I don't know if that answers your question, but just to put some texture on that conversation around subversive outside money, backdoor money, whatever, that's real. And that's happening in pretty much every state where there are Democrats running for Senate, for House, and any of the governor's offices. So that is out there. And that's why I keep saying that we've got to pay attention to the dark money. It's not just that money in politics is bad, but dark money is particularly bad. So I don't know if that answers your question or your thought process, Andre. But at the end of the day, I think that we have to have stronger leadership in that role with regard to the DNC chair.
I definitely second that emotion. I really do. Ken Martin needs to be dealt with. And listen, I'm not against those socialists. I understand socialism, but it's just like, okay, it's like, for me, it's like poker face. I don't play poker, but I understand that, know when to fold them, know when to roll them. I think that they would have came out better, even though they've won some races now with Mondami's endorsement. For the overall Democratic Party, is people going to donate money based on that?
And what's the effort look like? That's the other thing, too, Andre, and all of you guys. What's the effort look like? I guess I don't feel, how people say that they were saying how they don't feel that the economy's gotten better during the 2024 election, and how the Biden camp was trying to articulate that things were technically better, but some people were saying, but I don't feel it. Okay, so let's use that as part of our cane to walk down the street in this conversation. I don't know if people feel like the DNC is this robust, energized organization that's going to provide the support, the guidance, and the leadership that candidates need across the country. That maybe is maybe I should phrase my thoughts that way. I don't feel like that's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, and I definitely follow. Now, you're doing fine. You're making me understand where you're coming from. I got no problem with it. But they do need to do something. The midterms is not far away. I just want to mention this to you, too, real quick. There, with the Supreme Court uses two dockets. They use the shadow docket and the merit docket.
Right.
You realize that Donald Trump has used the shadow docket more than any other president in history.
He's used it more than the last four presidents, as I understood it. Not including himself.
Right. And the Supreme Court, they need to turn down some of them things there, because, see, with that shadow docket, it doesn't undergo any type of scrutiny. They can just do it at will, and they don't even have to reveal how they voted. Whereas the merit docket undergoes scrutiny, and it takes a while to get things done. So that means that Trump is abusing the shadow docket, and it's going to be up to the Supreme Court to say, wait a minute, you're doing this too often, too frequently, and you expect for us to ask on it. This most recent one is not an emergency. Shadow docket for an emergency. This is no emergency with no election come up. At least I don't see it as he's trying to deal with that voting, that mail-in balloting, talking about its emergency. There's no emergency. The Supreme Court has time to weigh in on that.
Yeah,
so
they do.
He just used the shadow docket as a way to get over on the people. That's it.
Thank
you, Mr. Chief.
And to play the stall game a little bit as well. So to tie it up in court, get the ball rolling, to tie it up in court, and then as we get closer to the election, then drop the bomb of there's someone that's in the country that's a subversive individual from China that's tampering with. They're sitting in somebody's basement tampering with our election, machines and all the rest. So that's part of it too. Let us not forget. Andre, always good to hear your voice. Glad you're well, and thanks for hanging out with us a little bit this morning.
Like you. Thank you for having me, Mr. Chu. Have a good rest of the day.
You too. Talk to you soon. Let's grab another quick call. Looks like our friend Sean is. Good morning, Sean. Hey.
Richard, how you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. You're walking the dog this morning? You going for a short run, walk around the neighborhood?
Literally, I'm walking my dog right now as I was listening to you on WCPT and AM 950, and of course in WARR. All the good stations. So I was listening to you and Andre talk, and I said there's two things I think that we talked about a little bit last night at the politics bar, and I don't think everybody is looking at it. One of them is, the DNC is not the RNC, and I know the mainstream media is horrible about this, but the RNC is really hierarchical. So the RNC has a bunch of money, and they can distribute it up and down the chain. That's really how they yank the chain of the people who, you do what we want you to do or else. The DNC is completely different. The DNC's purpose is basically to elect a president once every 4 years. That's it.
Yep.
That's the whole purpose of the DNC. You also got the DSCC for the Senate, the DCCC for the House. It is a lot more decentralized, a lot more spread out. And so people go, well, on the Republican side, we just go to the RNC and they do everything. Well, yeah, but on the Democratic side, we don't do it that way. So that's part of the reason.
Yeah,
Another part of it is the fact that Ken Martin he is a nice guy, and he has done some good things. One of the big things that he's done that some of the folks who have been, old-fashioned and in control that don't like is that he actually made sure the state parties were funded, which was not typically the DNC's purview in the past. And obviously, we've seen a lot of state races being won by Democrats, so that's good. But the DNC head, his job is basically two things. One, get money, and two, be a loud voice. And that's not really what Ken Martin has done. Whether or not he's done other good things is fine. The two big things that he was supposed to do, he hasn't. So there's that. The third thing is about the DSA. What you're running into is it is literally, and what a lot of people I'm seeing on different social media platforms this morning, we're running into a Fox propaganda op is what we're running into. There's a woman by the name of Megan Romer. She is one member of a caucus. DSA is about 12 or 13 different caucuses, groups. They basically split into two groups. You have the leftmost caucuses and you have the reformists. The left ones are the ones who are kind of nuts, and a lot of people on the left are proud members of what they call the dirtbag left. If anybody remembers Chapo Trap House, they are anti-democratic and anti-capitalist and proud of it. And you go, okay, that's fine. But you can be members of one caucus and not another. You can switch caucuses. It's very kind of amorphous in some ways. The other side is what's known as the reformist caucuses. And the reformist caucuses are the ones that have elected people like Mayor Mamdani, Representative AOC, Representative Sanders, or Senator Sanders, I should say. So, these are the people who actually get stuff done. Those are the people who are Democrats. But they are also part of the DSA because they just want the Democratic Party to go further left and to be more active.
Yeah.
Now, all of us say, okay, we kind of get this. A young woman by the name of Megan Romer, who is a co-chair of the DSA, Fox decided to get her on, I believe, yesterday, and, of course, did what Fox does, where they pull out the absolute worst and most extreme of her beliefs and say, hey, we know that nobody in the mainstream media listens to you. We know that nobody pays attention to you. So what about all the crazy-ass things that you believe? And she goes, oh, my God, people are listening. Okay, well, here's the craziest garbage that I believe.
Yeah.
And, of course, then the right-wing media is now running with it and going,
this is who
look,
the DSA is. And then they create a narrative. Actually, someone just sent me a text basically saying that, and I've said my versions of this before, we have to be careful of assuming the labels that corporate media, any position, left, right, or in the middle of any of the stations and the outlets give us and have our own labels, because the minute that we adopt the label that the GOP puts out there or the corporate media puts out there, unfortunately, it sticks for a while because
she is a member of what's known as the Red Star Caucus.
Yeah.
The Red Star Caucus is one of the left caucuses. But you got to remember, DSA is basically, if you say it's a dozen groups and half of them are on the left side and half of them on the reformist side, you would not be inaccurate. And the thing is that the folks on the left side are very left. They're the ones who do believe that even though socialism on a large scale has never worked, they're like, hey, let's try it. That's those folks. That's what they believe. Just because they believe something doesn't mean that it's true or doesn't mean that it should work. But that's what they believe. Then you get the folks who are on the reformist side, like Rep AOC, like Mayor Mamdani, and they look and they go, oh, well, see, they're all DSA. And you're like, well, not really. It's kind of like saying that a centrist Democrat like Jared Golden is exactly the same as, well, Representative AOC. Yeah, they're all Democrats, but there's a whole lot of difference between the two of them.
Well, I've said this for the longest time, that you go too far left or too far right, and you end up circling toward each other. So that's the challenge that we have right now, is those that are so far left that are, and again, there's always going to be principles and things and ideas that every voice has, but you go too far in that direction, and then you end up blowing past what's important for the majority of the people. So,
well, but one of the things that I'm already seeing, there's I won't say who it is, but there's somebody who is. We got a couple of candidates coming into the politics bar here soon, and one of them already been in discussion about getting them on, and they said, hey, I'm getting hammered by this DSA person that was on Fox already last night, and I was like, okay. Here's what's going on, because Republicans are going to take what Fox provides them and then use it and say, see, every Democrat is a crazy left-wing nut job, and therefore, and you go, oh, give me a break.
That's right.
This is the same game that they've been playing for years. The difference is on our side now, we got folks like you, like us, like Jody Meets Politics Bar, like Steph, like Tom, who get out there, like all the folks who are on, WCPT, and get out there and inform people so that we are informed and armed with information to fight the propaganda from the right. They may have more of the mainstream media, but we're now up to snuff, and we can get our information out there too. So
right on. Hey, man, I got to go to a break. You know about that, Sean.
Go, brother, go do your thing, and swing by the politics bar again sometime. We'll see you in the evenings.
Throw me a bone, I'll be there. All right, Sean, good to hear your voice, man.
Always, brother. Good to see you, man. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye. 773-763-9278 is the number. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Richard Chew. This is Chew's Views, and we'll be right back.
WCPT replay.
On the line with us is none other than Cliff Cash.
You've got to be loud. You've got to show up. You got to stand up. You got to speak up. And I get if you live in a red area or a red neighborhood or you have really red friends or family, it doesn't matter. Fascists feed on fear. If you ever wondered what you might have done during the Civil Rights Movement or during Nazi Germany or during any other pivotal time in history, you don't have to wonder, because what you would have done is what you're doing now. And if you're being fearful and quiet, then you're part of the problem, and you would have been in those historic moments as well. So put a sign in your yard, post on social media, and take these people to task. And all you have to do is learn the truth, because they're going around screaming lies, and only about half of us are out here even whispering the truth.
Keep listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Guys, welcome back to the show. Keep in mind that on Live, Local, and Progressive today, Joe Esposito will be talking to Christopher Armitage and Joel Ostro. So make sure you're tuning into Joan 2 to 5 today here on WCPT. And, of course, Petty will also be hanging out with Joel Ostro and Chevy Humphrey, as well as Julia Laurie on Driving It Home with Petty Vasquez this evening from 5 to 7. So a couple quick things I want to go back and kind of re-explain or clean up. Question was asked about the difference between dirty, dark money versus clean and good money. When I've said before, dirty, dark money or non-transparent money, it's in the conversation around money in politics. And in this current environment, when I hear someone on the left, because the right isn't saying it necessarily, but when I hear someone on the left say we've got to get money out of politics, I know it sounds great for a person running for office to say those words. It sounds sort of like, it's a current statement that people are making that, it sounds good to be saying it. And I'm not trying to be critical, but I'm just want us to be a little bit more aware in that space. Money in politics right now, unfortunately, to fight the Republican onslaught of money in politics is necessary. Let's not fool ourselves. Let's just not fool ourselves. The Republican Party at large has more money, based on all the data that I've read, than the Democratic Party does. They're raising it from, maybe to what Andre said, more from a selected few, but politically their coffers and have more money. So we can't just say no money in politics while we're trying to fight to win to get back to a Mendoza line where we can say, okay, now we can change money in politics. I think that needs to be the statement, not just we can't have money in politics. I'm not taking any money from any PACs. Well, again, take 10 people that you like, good folk, got their heads right. They stand in the right position on where we are as a country or where we should be. And they put together a PAC and raise $10 million to help you win. Are you not going to take it? So that's why I have to be a little bit more clear maybe in how I say this. When I talk about dirty money, dark money in politics, it's the money that's coming from unknown outside sources relevant to this race that's being run in a particular area. That dirty money is the money that we don't know about. It's unclear. It's we don't know where it's coming from. And then when we dig in and find out where it's coming from, we realize that group is actually, they're fronting as a group that looks good, but they're actually harming our people. So to try to clarify what I said earlier, if I rushed through that, and we had one of our listeners down in Florida asked me to kind of clean up on L7. So dirty money, to me, is the non-transparent money, the money that comes from sources that we don't know about, and it puts us on our heels because of the fact that we don't know where it's coming from, versus clean money or less dirty money. And that's where the sources are everyday folk in some cases, or maybe bigger money, but it's coming from a source that you know where it's coming from. And their intentions, based on what they've disclosed, are good. So I hope that helps out Mark down in Florida to give a better answer and a little bit of cleanup on L7 in that space. I also want to read something that comes from one of our wonderful listeners, and occasionally she co-hosts with Patty, and most significantly, she is one of the councilwoman up in Woodstock, and that's Natalie Zamba. She's commenting on what Sean said. He's correct about the DNC versus the RNC. Additionally, the DNC has so many area, city, regional offices, and also offshoots. For example, McHenry County Dems and the DuPage County Dems, and groups like McHenry County Democratic Women. More independent from the greater Democratic Party, yet working hard to raise money and give it to local candidates that are running in local offices. So yes, again, and thanks for that, Natalie, that help in better understanding it, because she's run for office and won, so she knows what it's all about. Lessons can be learned from her in that space. But the bigger message regarding that, or the takeaway from what she's saying, is we need to be mindful of the fact that we've got this big tent. And in helping folks win local offices, back to what Sean said about what Ken Martin has done well, is to help some of these local races or state races. By contrast, unfortunately, like I said, I think there's a lack of feeling that there's this big voice that's pushing the national narrative and pushing the national numbers. And that's what we need to see. And that's what is sort of the foundation of my question is he getting it done on that level? So what do we do when we have questions as Democrats and we want to try to figure out how to make ourselves better? We ask the question, we find out what the solutions can be, and we lean into trying to do a better job. If we're critical of ourselves in that space, as long as the criticism is toward us succeeding at the big goal. And that's what this is all about. That's what the question is all about. Do we need to have a bigger, stronger voice in that space? And if we do, then let's make that happen before the clock runs out, if you will. So there you go. Just wanted to present that to you guys, and thanks for your help in that. And some very good comments coming from you with regard to where we need to be. And someone says we need to just take down Fox News. Let's come together and take down Fox News. Oh, too funny, too funny. Let's see what else we got. Got good comments, guys. I always like to read your comments. Yeah, don't waste votes. Emphasize that Dems need to all vote. Once we have our candidates, we need to all vote for that candidate. Yeah, that's probably the most honest and accurate thing. Thanks, 773. Let's try to get one more in before we go to break. Yep, benefit of the listeners. Thanks, Mark. I just wanted to clarify that. Thanks for Mark put in this order. Clean up on aisle 7, and I hope I did dust it up a little bit, Mike. Didn't have to bring out the full mop bucket, but we got it dusted up. Let's take a quick break, guys. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 here in Great Old Chicago, down in Warren County, North Carolina, 1520 AM and 103.5 FM. And then, of course, the progressive voice of Minnesota, AM 950. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Would it be crazy if you packed your bags and left for a week, a month, a year? What if you left for 2 years? What if you were going far away to help in a village on the edge of the Gobi Desert, to teach children and learn a thing or two about yourself? Would that be crazy? Peace Corps, life is calling. How far will you go?
Computers are a wonderful tool, but every day children are sexually solicited online. Protect your kids online. Visit cybertipline.com. Help delete online predators. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
You're listening to WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk station, where facts matter and truth always wins. Stay informed, stay engaged.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com, with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. We provide resources and support because there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's, or caring for a loved one,
find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What does your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. Well, that was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's meeting with President Trump today will be the first since the two leaders launched a joint war against Iran. A White House official says the two leaders plan to discuss the framework agreement the U.S. and Israel signed with Lebanon over the Israel-Hezbollah war and the expansion of the Abraham Accords. Trump is also set to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky today ahead of Senator Lindsey Graham's funeral, their second sit-down this month. Graham will be eulogized today during memorial services across Washington. The AP's Lisa Dwyer has more.
Graham's remains will arrive at the U.S. Capitol, with Republicans served for more than 30 years. Later, a funeral service will be held at the Washington National Cathedral, where President Donald Trump is expected to make remarks. It's the start of 2 days of services, with burial Wednesday in his home state of South Carolina. The late senator's sister, Darlene Graham, was sworn in as the interim appointee after his death to serve out the rest of his term.
So help you God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And is running for the nomination. Today is also the deadline to file for the special GOP primary on August 11th to fill Graham's spot. There are at least 10 Republican candidates running. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Trump is demanding that Senate Majority Leader John Thune cancel the chamber's upcoming August break until senators pass a strict proof of citizenship voting bill, even as Republicans lack the votes to advance it. David Hearn, the former Olympian charged with deliberately damaging the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, is seeking access to all of the closed-door testimony that led to his indictment, pointing to irregularities in those grand jury proceedings. This is AP News. An earthquake registering a magnitude of 7.1 has shaken Kumamoto on Japan's southern main island of Kyushu.
The Japan Meteorological Agency has issued a tsunami advisory for the nearby Ariake Bay on the western coast of Kumamoto. At a news briefing, Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara says, "We ask the public to remain alert for the possibility of further quakes of up to seismic intensity 7 on Japan's seismic scale. In particular, residents in areas that experience the strongest shaking should closely monitor evacuation information." And Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, in a message posted on X, has urged residents to avoid the coastline where a tsunami of up to 3 feet has been predicted. Japan's Fire and Disaster Management Agency adds there's no reports of damage to major public facilities and infrastructure in the region so far. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high in the upper 70s. Winds out of the northeast around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low near 64. By Wednesday, sunshine, a high of 83 degrees. And Thursday, plenty of blue skies and sun will see a high around 87. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 68.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. This is Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, thanks for being with us. We've got a leader in Michigan with us this morning, and he is seriously fighting hard. He's the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. I'm just talking about earlier our national chair in terms of Ken Martin. With us this morning again is Mr. Curtis Hertel. Good morning, Curtis. Welcome back to Choose Views.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Good to have you with us. So let's dive right in, deep into the pool. We got some momentum going in the midterms across the board on some state elections as well as some of our national congressional seats. What's happening in Michigan right now? What are some of our I guess you could say opportunities, for lack of better words?
So this is a historic election in Michigan. I know we always say the most important election in our lifetime, but this has never happened in Michigan history. We have an open governor's race, open Senate race, open attorney general, open secretary of state, enough seats that we can flip in Congress to take back Congress just from Michigan.
Just from Michigan alone.
Every seat in our state House, every seat in our state Senate, and 2 seats on our Supreme Court.
You got to be licking your chops in some ways.
It's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity, right? I mean, we could take the country back right through Michigan. And we're only 3 seats down in our state House. We could have a trifecta again and good things done for people. I always tell people the Democratic Party is not a social club. It's a force for good in the world at its best. And so I believe that we have an opportunity to take everything back in Michigan and be part of the team that takes back this country and holds Donald Trump accountable for every thing that he has done to destroy who we are as a country. And I think we had a lot of opportunities in Michigan.
Is there reality in this statement, and it's sort of mine and others cobbled together, that what Donald Trump may have actually done is awaken this time around, awaken Democrats that sat on the sidelines for whatever reason. I'm not pointing fingers for those who think I'm criticizing Democrats. I'm saying all of us, voters, voices, leaders. Is that maybe the upside, if you will, of getting folks back into the fight and those that are in the fight to fight harder?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. I think it has woken up people, and I think, and specifically Democrats, and the idea that when we're in power, we have to get things done. You know, there's a line in the movie, The American President, that if you don't give people water, they'll drink sand. Trump is sand. He is blame. He is anger. But we got to give people water. We are the party that fights for better wages, for getting better access to health care, to making it affordable to raise a family again. And so we've got to solve those major problems when we take power back as well. Can't just be about Donald Trump. I want to win elections even when Donald Trump isn't the main focus, right? Yep. But that's part of the problem, I think, is that the Democratic Party has got to be able to win elections even in the tough years. We've got to build ourselves a majority party. On the other side of that, what I would say is that it's not just Democrats that are waking up. I mean, we were in deep red Elliott County doing a town hall. We had 400 people there, and there aren't 400 Democrats in Elliott County. I mean, so there were people there that are willing to stand up and say, enough is enough. And you have to remember that a lot of people, they were lied to. They were told that, gas prices would go down, that food prices would go down, that wages would go up, that there would be no foreign wars, that the Epstein files would be released, that there'd be a focus on them. And all of that is a lie. None of it has actually happened. So I think it's not just Democrats. I think it's independents. I think it's people that call themselves Republicans but are not in for this. And I think we have the ability to actually win a lot of elections by reaching out to people, having a little grace and saying, it's okay. You voted wrong. We can bring you back. And so, I think that there is a lot of potential for that as well, just because this president has been so god awful and has lied to the American people.
In Michigan, particularly, not just what Trump has done, but Republicans. I mean, this is why it's important. When I've been saying this for the 2.5 years I've had my show, Chair Hertel, and that is, we have to win national, at state, and local elections, because that gets us untilted. And a good example is when we have the trifectas and the triangle, both the executive offices as well as the House and the Senate in any state. We get stuff done, and yes. Is a good example of what doesn't happen is Michigan's dealing with the state budget rescissions. Talk a little bit about what the Republicans have done to block things for kids, block things for seniors. Share a little bit of that with us.
Yeah, I mean, they have a cruelty agenda. I mean, and really, it comes down from Donald Trump. Our Speaker of the House, Matt Hall, he basically is doing a Timu Donald Trump impression, a Chris Farley version of Donald Trump. But it would be funny if it wasn't so sad, because what they had done to people. And so what they did was tried to block funding for things like wigs for kids with cancer, for sexual assault victims, the mental health services that they get in order to be able to testify against their accuser. Free breakfast and lunch for every kid they're opposed to in Michigan. Who's opposed to lunches for kindergartners? And it's that kind of what I would call a cruelty agenda. They want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, to me, wigs for kids with cancer is not waste, fraud, and abuse.
It's abusive to not provide those things. Sorry, it's abusive.
That's what government's supposed to do. Yeah, right. It's decent. It's I think this country can be responsible and also good. And I think that, unfortunately, they don't believe that. They believe that you have to make a choice. of whether we are going to help people or be responsible. Now, they don't count that, by the way, when they're given, money to, the people that were at January 6th, or when they're, trying to, there's plenty of money then, all Donald Trump's friends. If there's a foreign war of choice that's happening, that's raising costs for everybody. Oh, there's plenty of money for that. But when it talks about like, oh, well, we got to make these cuts, I can tell you that the amount of money we spend on wigs for kids with cancer is one bomb. It's one, it's one, giveaway to some corporation that's helping Donald Trump. So I think that's the thing. If they're not fiscally responsible, they just want to spend the money in whatever graft way they can instead of actually helping people.
Without a doubt. Let's talk real quick. I know you got a tight morning. Michigan's been named the 5th in the DNC calendar. Talk about what that means to us winning, not just in Michigan, but having the impact that you just said in terms of the road to the White House, and power again runs through Michigan.
I'm so excited about this because Michigan looks like America. We are the most racially, economically, and geographically diverse battleground state in the country. It's hard to win the presidency without winning Michigan. And we are a test case for all that. If you're looking to talk to rural voters and bring them back, we have that in Michigan. If you're looking to talk to union workers, we have some of the highest union density in the country. If we're trying to bring back people that don't believe the Democrats have fought enough for them, and we saw that even in places like Detroit last election, we saw turnout go down. But that's because people felt like we didn't have their backs, and we can prove it in Michigan. We have the receipts. And so I think it's a great thing to make candidates come to a battleground state and fight for every single vote. And that's what they're going to be able to do in Michigan. We're excited to be part of the early window. This is something Carl Levin, when he was in the Senate, always fought for, that, New Hampshire and Iowa shouldn't be the only two that are part of this process. It should move around. It should be part of the decision-making process. No state should have a lock. We're excited to be in this window.
And particularly when you go back to the word diverse, not just culturally, but economically, fiscally, which are two different things, as well as the opportunities for new jobs. So these are all things that have their benefit in terms of the Democratic Party at large, where people can see how powerful Michigan is in this process. How can folks find you, Chair Hertel?
Yep, go to michigandems.com. If people are looking to volunteer, we're going to have a lot of tight elections across the state. People are willing to give a little bit of their hard-earned money. What wins elections is blood, sweat, tears, money, and luck.
Absolutely.
And we'll take any of that people in the listening audience have, and we'd love the help in taking the country back through Michigan.
Well, we're going to do everything we can to help that. We'll have you back on again and again, and whatever it takes to keep pushing that narrative. And as the old advertising campaign used to say, if you recall, say yes to Michigan.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you here.
Talk to you soon. Be well. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That is Curtis Hertel. He is the chair of the Democratic Party in Michigan. And he's someone that you need to follow for all the right reasons. But if you want to get involved in making sure that we win a state on a lot of levels, this is a state that you want to get involved in. And he's a person that you definitely want to follow and find out what you can do to help. You could be in California. You could be in Colorado. You could be in Florida. You could be in Texas. Michigan is incredibly important right now to our national politics. And that's not to say any other state is less important. But plug into what's going on in the state of Michigan, guys. It's a big part of our success as we go forward. Let's take a quick break. We're going to reopen the lines. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
One of the best parts of summer around here is Fair Week, and it's almost here. The 2026 McHenry County Fair returns to Woodstock August 4th through the 9th, and they've packed the week with something for everyone. Whether you're cheering on the action at the Next Level Bull Riding Rodeo, catching the horsepower at the tractor and truck pulls, watching the quad racing, or waiting for the demolition derby, there's never a dull moment. And when the grandstand lights go down, stick around for live performances from country favorite Alex Miller and the always entertaining Feudin' Hillbillies. Of course, it wouldn't be the fair without carnival rides, mouth-watering fair food, livestock exhibits, local vendors, and all those traditions you look forward to every summer. On Friday, August 7th, you can meet me, Patty Vasquez, from 5 to 7 p.m. as we broadcast live at the fair. So grab your family, your friends, and make some memories at the 2026 McHenry County Fair, August 4th through the 9th. Get your tickets and see the full schedule today at McHenryCountyFair.com.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
All right, guys, welcome back to Chew's Views. If you are just tuning in, I am Richard Chew. Thanks for being with us this morning. Another great quote from our good friend Natalie Ziemba. What do I always say? We must operate and function in a system that exists right now. Money is in politics, and we need money to win. So we need to raise money and use it to our advantage. And yes, even accept money to win. Great point. I've been saying my version of that same narrative. Right now, the fight that we're in requires that we have a certain type of artillery to win the fight. We may change the artillery once we are fully in power, but for right now to say, no, I'm not going to take money from any PAC money. When I've heard politicians, Democrats say that, I'm like, don't say that. Maybe a better way of saying it is, I'm going to take money from those who support what we believe in. It cleans it up a little bit. Back to the question that I got earlier about what's the difference between dark money, Mike, and dirty money versus clean and good money. I think we get to decide what that is, but let's not put ourselves in a box where we have to then come back and say, well, I took money from this organization. No, say that we're gonna fight the way we have to fight and do it in a way that's ethical and with efficacy in the battle that we're in right now. So we don't get it perfect, but we just keep moving forward so that we do what Natalie said. And she's spot on. Listen, if there's somebody you want to listen to about how to navigate that, Natalie Ziemba is one of those people. She's done it for real. She's run for office, she's won, and she's had to figure out how to navigate between those two, guardrails of left and right politics in a community that has a blend of different political identities. And she got it done. So, she understands how to make it work. So that's someone you want to follow. She is one of the councilwomen up in Woodstock. So check out Natalie Ziemba. All right, let's see what else folks are saying this morning. We could take back the country right through Michigan. Yeah, great. Wasn't that a great quote, 708? I mean, it's true, though. We could. We have the seats that we need for the House could come through Michigan, just that alone. And I got another thought about that in a moment. And we win the Senate seat. We beat down Mike Rogers, whether it's Haley Stevens or Dr. Syed. We win. I mean, I've said where I stand on that. We have to win the seat. Whoever ends up winning the primary, listen, y'all, don't get caught up in this purity test. And none of us, we're all susceptible to it. But let's not get caught up in it. Whoever wins that primary in Michigan, whoever is the nominee, please, y'all, don't stay at home if your person didn't get what they wanted. If you didn't get the person you wanted. Same thing down in Texas. Please don't stay at home because you don't like the fact that Jasmine Crockett did not get that seat, win that primary. Please don't stay at home. Tallarico is our candidate. We all have to get behind him. I don't need him to be quote unquote whatever. First of all, help me understand, Mike, what is the perfect candidate? I mean, what is that? I know that we could say that there are things that we don't want that candidate to be burdened with. That might be a way of approaching it. Less burdened candidate, maybe, rather than a perfect candidate. Maybe that's wording we should start to use. I could be wrong. It's two left shoes in that space, but we have to stop ourselves as best we can, and we're all susceptible to sort of this purity test, this perfect candidate. And our good friend Kurt Herner in Akron, Ohio, has said to me a number of times, we have to make sure that we don't get too caught up in the purity that we miss the fact that we got to win the big races. And I've got a number of people in my life that are left, right, and in the middle politically But I know that at the end of the day, what we have to be willing to do is say, when we get through the primary, we have to all show up. That's where we end up losing, is when we don't get the person we want and then we stay home. That doesn't make any sense if your goal is for us to be back in power. So just keep that in mind right now. Michigan is one of those races where that's a concern in the Senate space, and Texas is the same. We have to be mindful of that. And there's others, but those two are the ones that are the two biggies in terms of the perfect candidate. If Haley Stevens wins this primary, irrespective, and I say this for not to upset anybody, if there's money that she's taken from AIPAC and she wins this primary and y'all stay at home, that's our fault. We have to own that. If she's taking money from AIPAC and you don't like that, that's one thing. But what do you like more? Just like more, the fact that the Republicans would win that Senate seat because we didn't show up and Mike Rogers goes in and is a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. Same thing with Ken Paxton down in Texas. We just can't be so caught up in the perfect candidate or the one with the least amount of baggage that we end up losing the big picture. When we got to Chairperson Hertel's wording, the chance to take back Michigan, take back the country through Michigan. So I'm being a little preachy, but I just want to remind us that that's what our responsibility is to press pause and go, okay, we got to win. Let's see what we got here. Another great comment. Yeah, exactly. We want to make sure that we draw comparisons between us and all the rest. Authenticity. Yeah, that's another good word. But let us not fall for the banana in the tailpipe. All right, that makes some good sense there. Yeah, guys. I mean, listen. One of the things that I think has always been, as Democrats, our challenge, frankly, is the big tent means that there's a lot of voices and we don't always fall in line because, we have a very smart, verbal, outspoken, energized party in many ways. We got a lot of people that we think we have all the answers. I mean, I fall into that as well. I know that about myself. And in this space particularly, we want to be right because we think that if we're right, we win. And sometimes that's the case, and sometimes it's not. But in this moment, I think right is winning, not perfection. Right is being able to be in control. Because here's the thing. This was on my mind earlier. The national scene is impacting on a local level more than ever before. I would say in my lifetime, the national scene, the national politics, what's going on in Washington, and what the White House is doing in the administration and the entire GOP is doing is affecting us right here in the city of Chicago. It's affecting folks in Miami. It's affecting folks in Des Moines, Iowa, and in rural areas of Oklahoma. So we have to be mindful of that as we are making the decision to not get involved or get involved. We have to be mindful of that. We have to say to ourselves, this time around, I'm not going to seek perfection. I'm going to seek the win. And we can straighten out some of the other stuff after we're back in power. Y'all can call me crazy on that one, but I believe that that's, as much as I'm going to be critical of the things that we aren't getting done quite right as a party, at the end of the day, I know I'm going to show up to vote for whoever our candidates are. And I'm going to encourage, when we have our, we've select, like I said, right after Tallarico won the primary, I say, listen, bury your ego and get behind him, because if we're about winning, then it's got to be about winning. Not that, Congresswoman Crockett did not get that seat. Let's see what else we got going on here. As Randy Rhodes says for many years, fall in love in the primary, fall in line in the general. Good point, 402. Let's see what else we got. The GOP has always voted against our priorities. That should be enough right there. How many times have I said it? The inaction by the Democrats is problematic, But the actions that the Republicans are taking across the board, up and down the line, that's even more problematic. And we're feeling it here locally, right here in Chicago. And I know if you're anywhere in the country, you're feeling it locally, even though you may have Democratic leadership in your mayor's office, in your city council, whatever that's called in the community that you live in. You're feeling it locally because they're having to come up with tools to fix to provide a firewall for benefits for people that live in your community. That's what local officials have been forced to have to do because of the federal work that's being done by the GOP. They're voting to harm us, not to help us at all. So just be mindful of that, and we'll keep this narrative going because it's the one that we all have to kind of hold on to some parts of it so that we keep our sanity as well. We'll take a quick break, guys. The number is 773-763-9278. You are listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. And now AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
WCPT replay.
I am thrilled to be joined by Tom Nichols, staff writer at The Atlantic.
Illiberalism is a global movement right now of people using the levers of democracy to vote for people who are going to take away their democracy. It's basically like saying, I'm an American and I have rights, and I'm going to vote for the guy that's going to take away my rights because that will punish other people too. The illiberal movement is not the very poorest against the very richest. What you find with Trump voters, just as you did with illiberal voters in Italy and Poland and Turkey and other places, is that these are actually middle-class voters. Most of them are reasonably comfortable. You know, if you look at the January 6th rioters, these were not unemployed factory workers. These were chiropractors and retired cops and real estate agents.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said,
if it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Every 16 seconds, an American receives a cancer diagnosis, and every minute of every day, another person loses their life to cancer. That's why Stand Up to Cancer has set a bold goal to make early-stage detection an essential part of standard of care for all cancers. So often, if cancer is detected early, the chance of long-term survival is 90%. So if we all support cancer research, more than 2 million lives can be saved in the next decade. So join the mission and help save lives today at standuptocancer.org.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high in the upper 70s. Winds out of the northeast around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low near 64. By Wednesday, sunshine, a high of 83 degrees. And Thursday, plenty of blue skies and sun will see a high around 87. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 68.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, this is Choose Views here on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago. Today on Live Local Progressive, again, Joan will be talking to Christopher Armitage, Joel Ostraw, professor of political science at Benedictine University. So check out Joan today. And Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, she'll be joined by guest co-host Joel Ostraw. And also talking with Sheffrey Humphrey and Julia Laurie, senior reporter at Mother Jones. Tomorrow, Anna Gomez will be joining us here on Choose Views, along with Kurt Mullett, who's your Blue 63, and Colette Dillawalla, founder and CEO of Stand Up for Science. And guys, as a reminder, Choose Views featured interviews and full episodes can be found. They're available on podcasts such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, TuneIn, iHeart, YouTube, and Amazon Music. Just search for Choose Views and visit our new podcast at heartlandsignal.com /com/podcast. God, there you go. Put that all together, and sometimes it comes out muddled. Still want to hear what you guys have to say about our DNC leadership. Make sure plug in, give us a call, let us know what your thoughts are. But as we get ready for our, I think our next guest is on the way. Looks like it might be, yeah, we're getting close. All right. So going back to something I said before we went to the break about not letting our purity be so pure that we end up people stay at home and don't come out for some of the primary elections, and certainly once we get to the midterms and the candidates have been selected for that are our primary candidate. Just don't stay at home. And here's the other thing too. I forgot to say this. The people that you know that might be ones that are frustrated because they didn't get their candidate, remind them as well that no, you don't have the luxury of staying at home. And challenge them with this. I know this might seem a little harsh, but let them know, listen, you didn't get your candidate that you wanted in the primary on the federal elections, and you, as my friend or family member or whatever, decide to not vote in the midterms, we got a problem. We got a problem. You need to let them know that it's not something that they get to complain about. If they didn't get their person, but in the big picture, they still want us to win, then they got to let that go. They've got to be willing to say, and this is true with some of the state elections as well. You've got to be willing to, I would hope that we'd all be willing to say to the people that we care about, you don't get to stay at home because you didn't get the person you wanted. So as much as we have to, pull our own selves up by the collar and say, I'm going to show up no matter who it is on our side so that we win, you may have to have some of those conversations with the people that are in your lives to get the same. You may have to have that same conversation with someone that you care about. And that could be tough because their position might be that they don't like the other candidate because they're not blue enough or whatever the case may be. But I believe that we've got to be willing to push those people that are close to us as well and remind them that this isn't that time. If they've been concerned about, local, the cost of things in their local community, they don't get to stay at home and fuss about it if they didn't show up to actually vote in the midterm because they didn't get their person. So that's just, kind of how I see it. Can we grab the quick call from before we let's grab a quick call. Hey, good morning, Don. Welcome to the show.
Well, actually, it's not Don. It's Mary Pat.
Mary Pat, driving to work or someplace.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to. I readily call my senators and congressmen to voice my opinion. And right now, because I have Democratic senators and a representative, I feel that I'm being heard.
Yep.
And I just want to say, if there's a Republican that gets in office, you can bet they're not going to want to answer your call and listen to what you have to say.
Mary Pat, that is spot on, and once again, another great clip from you. You know, we've been using your clip from a few weeks ago about stop finding excuses to not vote, and so you know, our folks down in North Carolina were like, "That's a good one. We got to have that. We got to play that all over the world." And it's true. And you're right. If Democrats, if a Republican gets in to a particular seat, whether it's this Senate seat in Michigan or down in Texas or any place else, their people aren't going to want to talk to us or anybody else for that matter, unless it's, probably one of their donors. So, take it personally in that regard. They're not going to answer your call.
Yeah, and it's just a fact. And there's a great website if people want to keep track of issues and get scripts and phone numbers to call. It's called 5calls.org.
5calls.org, did you say?
Yes, and basically the premise is, and it's true, 5 calls to your legislator's phone line on a particular topic gets their attention. It puts the issue, whatever you're calling about, up on that ladder, and their aides, their legislative aides, go to the elected and say, hey, people are talking about this. We're getting lots of calls. You need to formulate a position and get out there and say something and do something about it.
Got it.
And it really does work. 5 calls, and your legislator pays attention.
There it is. Mary Pat, once again, bringing us all this good information. We so appreciate your contribution to the show, Mary Pat. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I just want to say, I've heard this one, and maybe you agree with me. How about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jasmine Crockett 2028?
Listen, I've heard it too, and I'm not against it. If that were our ticket, I'm going to get 1,000% behind it. You know, all the reasons to say, oh, we can't elect a black woman or we can't elect a Latino woman. No, I'm not. Yes, we can. So there you go.
There you go. All righty.
Mary Pat, thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye now. And speaking of black females that are leaders, our next guest is one of those that's been making it clear that, irrespective of her community of culture or color, she is just getting the work done. And she's running as candidate in the Senate District 9 in Michigan. Michigan's kind of running the show today. Dr. Theresa Brooks is with us this morning. Good morning, Dr. Brooks, and welcome to Choose Views.
Good morning. And yes, Michigan is where it's at.
Did you hear what Curtis Hertel, chair, said earlier, that really saving the country runs through Michigan right now?
I did not hear that, but I 100% agree. We are the state to watch for sure.
Without a doubt. Take a moment and let our listeners know a little bit about you, about your background, and of course, this office that you are running for in Michigan.
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Dr. Theresa Brooks. My background is I'm actually a physician. I'm a mom of 3 daughters. I also have a small business. I have my own practice, and I've served on local government. I've served in local government at Troy City Council since 2019, so nearly 7 years. So I have a deep love for really helping people and trying to support my community and support people in general. I never envisioned myself in this space. I just kind of started out as a doctor and mom, just trying to take care of my family. But I saw, that things were not going in a direction that I was happy with. This was almost a decade ago, and I just started to get involved. And one thing kind of led to another. It was very organic. I started very grassroots, and it got to a point where my community was like, hey, why don't you consider running for city council? And I decided, why not? We need some people that have different backgrounds, and they need to see people like me, and young girls can look at me and say, okay, if you can do it, I can do it. And then my decision to run now for state Senate was in large part because of what the Big Beautiful Bill and what happened with the Affordable Care Act. And just seeing what is happening in real time with my patients, I said, oh my gosh, I have to do something. I can't sit on the sidelines. I have to get involved and do something where I can have influence over that. So that is why I am doing what I'm doing at this time.
Tell us a little bit about the actual district. Where is it geographically, and so that folks know where it is in the state of Michigan?
Yeah, so it is. The state Senate district is part of Oakland, mostly Oakland County, but then there's a part of Macomb County as well. So we are in the Detroit metro area. So there's kind of three main counties in Metro Detroit. There's Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb. So this actually kind of includes both of those counties. It's a large district. It includes 4 cities: the city of Troy, the city of Rochester Hills, Rochester, and then there is also a portion of Sterling Heights, Utica, and Shelby Township as well. So just for context, Troy is the largest city in Oakland County. So it's not a small district. It's a very diverse district, and with a lot of different, it's a wonderful district, really.
Yeah, and those are cities that people who are familiar with Michigan may know, but if not, pull it up on a map, y'all. If you're in California, or if you're in Texas, or if you're in Florida, pull it up on a map. As she said, as Dr. Brooks said, it's a very diverse community, and a lot of folks from different age groups as well as economic groups have lived there for a long, long time. But you also have been very, very clear about the fact, when you said this a moment ago, it reminded me of the big ugly bill has been one of the driving forces for so many people that are running for state elections as well as on a federal level. But right there in Michigan, in your community specifically, this bill has really been devastating. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've seen and then what you're hearing from the constituents that are behind you running for the state Senate seat.
Well, I think that in general, I'll say this too. There has been so much chaos that has come out of Washington right now. There's so much uncertainty. There's just, people are afraid. There's been so many cuts to so many things. The Affordable Care Act is just one of many, right? So we've seen cuts to education, public education, universities. We know we have University of Michigan in the state of Michigan. Michigan State, we have some great universities, cuts to research, cuts across the board that are not helping people's everyday lives. And so I think that is a huge thing right now that people are concerned about. When I'm at the doors, that is what I'm hearing, is people are concerned about their cost of living. People are concerned about education. People are concerned about healthcare. People are concerned, these are all things that are just really hitting home to people. And the Big Beautiful Bill has done nothing to help people's everyday lives. And I think that is a huge, huge problem that people are contending with right now.
I said this earlier in the show, and I've said it a number of times over the last year and a half, or since Trump's been back in office on a federal level. The Republican Party has really shown that they're not about doing things from a legislative standpoint on a state level, or certainly on a federal level, that are designed to help people. They're designed to take things away from people, to restrain and restrict people from things that will actually make their lives better. And I put this loosely in the context of what some might say is spiritual. I'm not getting into religion, but just to say, are we a community? Are we a society that helps the least among us? If we believe that that's true, if that's the case, then there's no one that should vote for the Republican Party on any level in its current state, because they're missing that. Like if you had 10 steps, Dr. Brooks, one of the first ones is to take care of the ones that are the least among us in our community. And the Republicans have no desire, and it's proof positive based on the legislation that they're passing or that they're getting in the way of being passed. Just talked to Chair Hertel about how Republicans are blocking things for students, blocking things for children, blocking things for seniors. What are your thoughts?
No, absolutely 100%. I mean, talk about things like SNAP benefits, about a third of those beneficiaries are children. And so these are children that are being affected. They can't get the food that they need, the daily nutrition that they need. This is insane, and it is not helpful for people. People are trying to survive at this point, and that is not what we want. We want people to be able to thrive. People shouldn't be worried about some of their basic needs, and especially in a country that is
It calls itself
richest
great.
country.
Yeah.
Yes, we call ourselves great. We're like the richest country in the world. We have all these wonderful things. We tell everyone we are the beacon of light. Everyone come to this country, and yet we are not supporting the most vulnerable. Like, what does that mean? What is that? To me, like, how you spend your money represents your values, right? Yeah. And so if we value people, and we really take this to heart that we support people, then you have to put your money where your mouth is, right? And you have to like support people. And right now we are not demonstrating that at all.
No,
and that is incredibly disappointing for me.
Dr. Brooks, we're going to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about your race and some of the things that your medical career has done to help you in this space. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and AM 950. Progressive Voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu, talking with Dr. Theresa Brooks, who's running for Democratic State Senator in Michigan. We'll be right back.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously. The best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views. If you're just tuning in, I'm Richard Chu. And we are with Dr. Theresa Brooks, who is running for the state Senate seat in the 10th District in Michigan. Dr. Brooks, when I see some of the wonderful pictures of you and those gorgeous daughters of yours, I have to ask the question, how are they feeling about mom diving deeper into the pool to run for this Senate seat?
You know, they're excited. But I just feel like they're still wrapped up in their regular lives. You know, they're kids and teenagers. So they're like, cool, but I need to get to band practice or whatever. You know, I've been on city council now for almost 7 years. So I think they're just kind of like, this is just an extension of mom's just doing all this stuff. So, I mean, of course they're happy and proud. What's really exciting is that my oldest one turned 18 this year. So this is the first year that she is actually able to vote. So It's exciting that she can vote for me as in her first election.
Right there in that district. So okay, first time voting for her. This is one of those questions that I don't think gets asked enough, myself included. So what are the 16 to 18-year-olds and the 18 to 21-year-olds saying that you're hearing, or that maybe even through your oldest daughter? What is she telling you that they're talking about?
Ooh, you know what? They are concerned about, I think they're concerned about the price of things as well. Mm-hmm. So she's not necessarily thinking about a house, but I will say this. I'll give you a story about a young woman in her early 20s that I spoke with. That was, I asked her, what is your biggest concern? And she said, I'm concerned that I will not be able to afford a home. Mm-hmm. She was working 2 jobs. She said her boyfriend was working 3 jobs. And she said, despite how much we're working, she said, I'm afraid that I'll never be able to own a home. And so, I think that a lot of our young people are concerned about that. And I think there's a lot of concern even about jobs. You go through college and you're hearing about a lot of young people that are not even able to find good paying jobs out of college. So, my kids are a little young to think about that specifically, but that is going to be a concern very shortly coming up here for them.
Yeah, without a doubt. So the transition for you, obviously being part of city council helps you kind of cut your teeth in being elected. But what did I'll put it this way, what did medicine and all the work that you've done in that space, what did it do? How did it impact you in terms of making the transition into governance?
I think that there is a lot of overlap. As a physician, we are very thoughtful about our decisions. You kind of approach a problem and you try to problem solve and you try to figure out what are the issues that that people are facing, or, that my patient has. How can I help them? And a lot of times it's not always just a simple answer. Sometimes it is. It's like, okay, you have this infection, give you an antibiotic. But sometimes patients present with the more complex issues. And I think that's the same thing in politics. There's a lot of complexity. There's not always a one answer fits all type of scenario. And you have to really think about all the different scenarios, how they can affect people's lives, and try to make the best decision that you can. And sometimes the decisions are between bad and worse. Sometimes they're not, you don't have really good decisions to make, but you got to make a decision and you try to do the least harm that you can. And that's kind of the same with medicine. Do no harm. You're trying to harm people the least that you can, and do the best that you can to help people. And, it's kind of a similar kind of motto in a way.
There's an organization, you may be familiar with them, so I don't want to make any assumptions one way or the other, 314 Action. In fact, we're going to have the founder on with us, Shaughnessy Naughton, on Thursday. And part of their goal is to have more scientists, more doctors in politics, particularly now with all that we're dealing with our medical bills and medical funding. I know what your thoughts are on that, but share with us what those thoughts are in terms of more medical practitioners finding their way into politics.
Absolutely. So just first, yes, 314 has endorsed me. They endorsed me and even in city council, my city council race, and they've been incredibly supportive in my state senate race as well. And yes, they're a wonderful organization, and I 100% agree with their mission that we need more people with science backgrounds and scientists and doctors and nurses and people that have and engineers, people that have that background in politics, I think now more than ever, because there's so many attacks now on science and medicine and facts and, and research and all of it. And it's like, oh my gosh, you kind of need people it's almost confusing to people because I think you start hearing a lie so much that you start to believe it. And you need people that say, wait, no. That is not the fact. That is not what's happening. That, so you have to have people that combat that misinformation and that disinformation because we have to push back against it, and we have to push back against it with solid information. And so I think that it is incredibly important. I think now more than ever, I think it's important that we are at the table making these decisions and move in driving policy.
It's interesting, too, because I always ask myself, why would we not lean into science, into facts, into data to help us make better decisions? And, the thing that came to mind or has come to mind before as we wrap up is that oftentimes people who say that they're not believers in science or they don't believe in the facts or they don't believe in evidence that's there have leaned recently in recent years into because it's not what God's order is. And I'm not going to, drag you down the conversation around faith and all that, but there seems to be this sort of, that's the rationale. But in fact, the science, the evidence is there for us all to kind of grab and read and apply as best we possibly can. So I'm glad to hear you say that. And yeah, 314 Action has really been a very, very influential group, and they've done some great work to get the scientists involved in politics, whether they be medical or engineering and all the rest. Dr. Brooks, it's been great having you on this morning. What a breath of fresh air. And I want you to let our listeners know how they can find you and how they can get involved in your campaign if they choose to do so.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure being here as well, and just wonderful talking to your audience. Thank you to everybody who is listening. So, yes, I am running for state senate, obviously, District 9 in the state of Michigan. You can reach me. The best way, I believe, is through my website. It's www.drbrooksforsenate.com. You can also follow me on social media as well, Dr. Theresa Brooks for Senate, I believe is my handle. It's so crazy. I don't remember my handle, but
that's what it is. I know it. It is.
I know you can find me some kind of way, but
just Google Dr. Theresa Brooks, Michigan, and she'll pop up.
Absolutely. You will be able to find me. So I'm out there. So thank you so much.
Well, we look forward to having you back. And like I said, you've been such a breath of fresh air, and we appreciate your energy and your knowledge and all that you're bringing to this race. I know that the folks in District 9 in Michigan are going to be really happy to have you in this role. So keep up the good work, and we appreciate you taking out some time today.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
All right. We will. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Thanks.
Guys, there you go. Dr. Theresa Brooks. Check her out for state senate in Michigan. She is another one of those voices that's going to help us kind of get this thing across the finish line on a state level, and be able to be prepared to benefit from what the rest of Michigan's going to be able to do on a federal level. And all I can say as we wrap up in some of the points I made earlier, lean in, y'all. Don't sit back right now. This is not that time. You don't get your candidate in the primary. That's okay. We get our candidate in the general, and we have to be willing to sort of set that aside right now. And, as Mike reminds me often, don't let that banana in the tailpipe sneak up on you. This is not the time to let that happen. Stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show. And remember, as always, to take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.
What is dedication?
My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. Let their story unfold and gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. Hire skills first. Learn why at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Amazon Business. Discover smart business buying, where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. The AP's Lisa Dwyer reports on an upcoming vote for a permanent director of national intelligence.
The Senate is expected to confirm Jay Clayton later today to become head of the nation's intelligence agencies. Clayton is expected to be confirmed along party lines after a contentious hearing 2 weeks ago in which he repeatedly refused to say that former President Joe Biden won the 2020 election, instead saying,
Joe Biden was certified as the president
of the United States.
Still, Democrats say they have more confidence in Clayton than they do in Trump's temporary pick for the job, Bill Pulte, who has no known intelligence experience and investigated the president's perceived enemies in his previous post as a federal housing regulator. The Senate voted 51-43 along party lines on Monday to advance Clayton's nomination. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Senator Lindsey Graham will be eulogized today during memorial services across Washington. President Trump is expected to deliver remarks at the Washington National Cathedral alongside Fox News' Sean Hannity and other conservative leaders. Both Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are planning to be in attendance. Trump will be meeting with the two leaders separately at the White House today. Newly released audio tapes disclosed by a conservative activist group appear to show former President Joe Biden sharing classified information with a biographer during interviews that occurred before his election to the presidency in 2020. The potentially classified information itself is redacted in both the audio and transcripts released by the Oversight Project. It includes about 3 hours of audio and over 100 pages of transcripts. Wall Street is mixed in early trading today, with chip makers getting hit again after a huge sell-off in South Korea. More stories at apnews.com. This is AP News.
AP Sports, I'm Mike Hempen. The Mariners have ended their franchise worst 12-game losing streak by scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth to beat the Phillies 8-7. Francisco Lindor homered twice and tripled, driving in 6 runs as the Mets beat the Braves 14-3. The Red Sox beat the Athletics 4-2, their 18th win in 20 games. Yankees outfielder Cody Bellinger will be sidelined 4 to 6 weeks with a left hamstring strain. Bellinger was placed on the 10-day injured list on Sunday. Vita Vea wants to leave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Correspondent Dave Ferry reports.
ESPN says the 2-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle has requested a trade with contract talks now at an impasse. Vea was a hold-in at minicamp last month while negotiations continued. He's in the final season of a 4-year, $71 million contract that pays out $17 million this year.
I'm Mike Hempen, AP Sports.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today with a high in the upper 70s. Winds out of the northeast around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. And then for tonight, partly cloudy with a low near 64. By Wednesday, sunshine, a high of 83 degrees. And Thursday, plenty of blue skies and sun. Will see a high around 87. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 68.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Where do you find beauty? Is it the people you meet, nature, the arts, or sciences? This is Dr. Anna Pellick from Total Dentistry. To me, beauty is your inner soul, the true you. As the eyes are the window to your soul, your smile is the reflection. Have you ever met someone that frowns all day? We label them grumpy, mean, sad. But perhaps they can't smile due to missing or broken teeth. Perhaps they refrain from laughter because they are embarrassed. At Total Dentistry, our goal is to give you a smile that allows your true self to just gleam. With modern technology, sedation, and payment plans, Total Dentistry can help you overcome the obstacles to a great smile. So why not be the best version of you? Call Total Dentistry, 847-358-2477, or visit TotalDentistry.org. Total Dentistry, a general dental practice like no other. And let the world shine with your Total Dentistry smile.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy who can fix my lamp?
I do. At the Township of Lyons Repair Cafe, neighbors help neighbors repair all sorts of things from lamps to vacuums. Little acts of mutual support that make a big difference.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy who can notarize documents?
The Township of Lyons has lots of notaries on staff ready to help.
Hey, Clerk Elise, you got a guy?
At the Township of Lyons, we are your guys. Whatever you need, we work to bring more resources right to you.
Check out the Township of Lyons online, Lyons with a Y, lyonstownshipil.gov.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive